Welcome back, guys. Today we're covering the king of crypto, Bitcoin. Not only has this been a crazy week in Bitcoin news, but it has also shown a key chart indicator just in the last few days, which means Bitcoin could be ready for an incredible Q4. In this video, we'll briefly touch on recent news that has come out about Bitcoin, then we'll dive into some charts, signals, and price predictions. Let's get started. All right, so let's touch on a few news tidbits around Bitcoin first. And the first point I want to touch on is the fact that Fidelity is really trying to push for a Bitcoin ETF. So they're putting some pressure on the SEC right now to approve their Bitcoin ETF. And a lot of the times it's hard to kind of consider how this would actually affect Bitcoin. So I want to do a little quick comparison on the common currency that it's usually compared to, which is gold. So if we take a look at gold and when the first ETF was founded for gold, when I looked it up, it said that it was 2004, and that was the Spider Gold Trust ETF, which most of you guys are probably pretty familiar with. And if we go and take that 2004 year and go look at a chart for the price of gold, you probably already see it right here at 2004. I mean, just look at what happens in terms of the upward trend. Gold finds a new all-time high just a little bit less, around 8 years after the ETF launches, and the previous 20 years, I mean, guys, look at this, completely stagnant. The previous 20 years, this ETF gets launched right here. We see a new all-time high repeated with another all-time high just recently, right after the pandemic. So really, really cool to see that. That gets me excited in terms of the ability for a Bitcoin ETF to actually help the price of Bitcoin and help the industry overall. And going on to the next point, in terms of adoption, in terms of Bitcoin growing, I just wanted to point out this really, really cool map. So this shows live nodes. And as you can see, obviously, US in terms of LA and New York is expected. We see Europe really, really showing a lot of node growth. But then also look at China and Southeast Asia. A lot of growth over here, and then also in Australia. And we're starting to see something, some activity pop up in Brazil. And it's just cool to see how this is happening everywhere, right? I mean, even over in Greenland, right here, Iceland, where there's really not even that much population, we're still seeing node growth, which is really, really cool. And I think part of this is because we honestly forget that inflation is a worldwide problem. Even though a lot of us just cover inflation in the United States, there's been record inflation in the UK as well. They had just had a record monthly increase from 2% to 3.2%. So people all across the world are dealing with this problem, and they're turning to Bitcoin as kind of their currency reserve instead of their native currency in their countries. And going off of Bitcoin adoption, kind of update on El Salvador. So they have this Chivo wallet app that they've been using for all of Bitcoin payments. And just as of yesterday, close to 7% of El Salvador's entire population has actually downloaded this. And now it's the number one downloaded app on the App Store for El Salvador. So a lot of exciting news there. Continuing with this kind of subject of adoption, we also saw the Republic of Turkey forming a partnership to launch into a digital asset project. So it's really, really cool to just see these countries. It seems like, El Salvador was kind of that small domino that led to all these other countries now adopting Bitcoin, which is just so cool to see. And, kind of flowing into the institutional side of things, this is kind of really where a lot of focus is, because a lot of the times institutional investors lead out a big boom in a industry or market. So it's really, really cool to see a ton of big names, interested in crypto, Ray Dalio, Stephen Cohen, but then also like these huge institutions. I mean, Citibank is investing in a crypto data company. Fidelity is increasing their crypto staff by 70%. And Morgan Stanley is launching a crypto research team. So these companies don't make these decisions without a lot of data backing it. And so there's a reason why they're diving into the industry, and I'm super excited about that. Going along that institutional adoption, this is Michael Saylor's group. You've probably heard of them, MicroStrategy. But they recently, I think just last week, put $242 million into Bitcoin on an acquisition. And now, they're holding more BTC than most S&P 500 companies have in cash. Just to show you the amount of growth that they've experienced along with Bitcoin over this time period. And going off that as well, you guys have obviously probably heard of Cathie Wood. She recently came out at a conference saying that she's still super bullish. She's projecting 10x growth from 50 to 500K in Bitcoin. And right now, her likely split is going to be 60-40 between Bitcoin and Ethereum. So love to see her back the big boys of crypto. And another aspect that people a lot of the times forget to look at is actually Bitcoin mining. So what are the mining companies doing? How are they experiencing success? And we see that Q2 net profits hit a record high for this Chinese Bitcoin manufacturing company, Canaan. So that's really, really good to see. So everything on the mining front is going swimmingly, it seems, and companies are seeing all-time highs in profit and revenue. So now that we've covered recent news, let's dive into the Bitcoin chart and look at some price predictions. All right, so now we are in the Bitcoin chart here. We have the 50 and 200-day moving averages up on the chart, and this is kind of where I want to start. So if you have been following Bitcoin, you probably heard the news. We did officially confirm this golden cross right here. That's when the 50-day crosses the 200-day to the upside, and the 50-day moves above the 200-day. And typically we've seen this lead to serious bull runs. So like back in 2017, this happened. A couple other times in Bitcoin's history, this happened. So it's always a key indicator that people are looking out for. And so far, we've seen pretty decent gains since that golden cross. So the golden cross happened right at about that 45.2 level. And now, we're floating around 47.8. We touched 48.2 yesterday. So we're still seeing a lot of that upside from that golden cross. And so now that we've had that indicator, I do think that we might consolidate a little bit here. I'm going to look for a bullish rectangle here as well as I continue to watch Bitcoin. But we could be seeing some serious bullish action. I'm just kind of hoping that we establish kind of this new support here around 47. We hold this line tight. Don't let it go, because if we fall back behind that, we're going to be searching for a different support and resistance level. But now that we've kind of covered where we're at, let's look at some potential new support and resistance levels to the upside. So let me really quickly pull out one of our fib extensions here, and let's just take a look at where we could end up. So taking a look right here, kind of popping up here to the upside, we really are testing this 48.425, so call it 48.5. This is a huge level right here. So you're probably going to see us bounce between this kind of 47.5, 48.5 level for a little bit. I think we probably move sideways maybe for another couple of days. And then it's really, really going to get interesting if we're able to break above this 48 level. And then maybe we find some new support and resistance between 49 and 50. If we break 50, that's when stuff really, really gets interesting. I think we probably look towards something between 51 and 60. So I think floating around between 51 and 60 in terms of short-term, mid-term is pretty likely here in the next couple weeks. Obviously, I'm super bullish on Bitcoin. I'm going to be holding, and basically never selling it. It's the first one I bought. It's the one that a lot of you guys first bought probably. And so I'm going to be holding it. But I think in terms of where we're going to be going short to mid-term, I think we probably find new support and resistance. If we're able to break this 48.5 level that we talked about before, I think we find new support and resistance somewhere between 55 and 60,000. And then from there, we're going to have to, go past that. And hopefully by, the end of the year, we see 80K. I think 100K, it's a bit out there. Yes, it's possible. We've seen other people talk about the 100K mark. In my opinion, I think we should be shooting for 80, 85K. And then in the next couple weeks, if we can get between 55 and 60 and then break that resistance of 60K, I think, 80, in between 80 and 100 is a lot more likely. So watch closely the next couple weeks, watch this 48.5 level. If you see daily candles or hourly candles starting to close above that, really, really watch it closely, because that's when we could see a breakout to the upside that we wanted to see. We'll probably play a little bit more sideways between 55 and 60 before breaking up to that 80, 85 level. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you got any value, it'd be great if you dropped a like. And if this stuff interests you, feel free to subscribe to the channel. We're doing weekly videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you guys so much.